Good afternoon, everyone. We're just going to wait 1 minute until a few more people are in, and then we can start. All right, Tina, why don't you start with the introduction?
Okay, thank you very much, Diego. Yeah, good afternoon, good morning. Hello to everyone, and welcome to the second Q&A webinar of the Code for Earth edition of 2026. We had a very good webinar last week with many good questions and short intro. So I'm here with my colleague Esperanza Cuatero. I am Martina Trakas. We are supported by Sara Bozzi usually and Diego Domenici. And Domenici is supporting us for the next few minutes. And then we have a special guest, Marina Caporlingua, and more to Marina a little bit later. So as mentioned, it's a Q&A webinar, but before you ask questions to us, we have a few questions for you. And Diego, I hand over to you.
Thank you, Tina. So to start off, we have a very, very short Mentimeter, which I will now share with you all. As you can see, Tina has already displayed the link there, but you will see it here in just a moment. Tina, I'm going to take the screen away from you. Yes. All right. So if you could please go to menti.com and insert the following code or scan the QR code, we would like to hear from you, starting from knowing how you heard about Code for Earth. So if you're here today, you may know more or less what Code for Earth is, or you may have no idea what it is and are just interested in learning about it, or you may have knowledge about how the program works, but you want to maybe ask about how the application process works or what kind of work goes into preparing an application. So first of all, we're interested in seeing how exactly you found out. So recommended by a colleague, okay, LinkedIn as well. We spend a good amount of effort in promoting the program and the results on LinkedIn. So we're always happy to see people come in from LinkedIn on the ECMWF side as well. That's excellent. Official webpage, very good. We handle that as well. See, very different experiences so far. Friend. It's good to know that you have people that suggest good opportunities for you. It's nice. And tutor. Okay. All right. Well, we've each come from a different suggestion or different posting, which is nice. It's good that we keep all fields occupied in terms of promotion. Secondly, what we're interested in also where all of you are from. So if we move to the next slide, we'd like to know what is your country of residence. So where are you dialing in from? Romania, Germany. So we have also on our side, we have Italy and Germany mostly. Oh, okay. A lot of Germany. Austria. I see. Well, it certainly looks like Germany is the big contender here. Oh, China as well. Interesting. UK. Okay. Well, we certainly have a German-centric audience today, which is great. And Nicaragua. Okay. We have a couple people that will probably be interested in this year's innovation, which is the Africa stream. But for that and other details, I am now going to pass the floor back to Athena. Thank you, Athena.
Yeah, thanks, Diego. And interesting to see where people come from. Now let me share my screen again. Good. These were our questions to us. Now we start looking into what Code for Earth is. And just in case, we are a very small group, but please, if you write your questions on the chat so we can answer them either while we go or at the end of the session. And we have also at the end of the session enough time to spend on answering the questions. So don't be shy. Put your questions there, and that is the session about, that we answer your questions. So what is Code for Earth? I guess most of you might have looked into that. That's Code for Earth is a key innovation action that has been established in 2018 by ECMWF, the European Center for Medium Range Weather Forecast. And we're supported by Copernicus, mainly the Atmosphere Monitoring Service, CAMS, and the Climate Change Service of Copernicus, C3S. Another part of the support comes from Destination Earth and the EU's Africa Regional Centers of Excellence and additional partner organization. The program runs as follows. So we're collecting challenges. These are real world scenarios. This is our job towards the end of the year and also then January, February. And then we put all these challenges on GitHub, and they are addressing topics related to earth science, weather, atmosphere, climate, of course, Copernicus and Destination Earth. And then we are inviting, call them young talents, we're inviting the broader community to submit a proposal or to contribute to a solution to any of the challenges. So for each of the challenges, we select one proposal, and the team that have been selected for a challenge, they are guided by our mentors during a 4-month coding phase to solve the real world challenges, with applied data science, computing, AI, ML, open source software coding, and the like. And the selected teams that complete their project successfully, they are eligible for a financial contribution as a recognition of their efforts and achievements. Who can participate? So generally or literally everyone. So the program is open to individuals and developer teams from diverse backgrounds, that could be mathematics or earth science in general, computer science, software development, and also for students at all levels, especially PhD and master students, but also like startup young professionals that are interested in working on topics that have come, the challenges that have been described. So we have some eligibility rules. So the program, if you want to participate in the program and submit a proposal, we highly encourage you to carefully read the notes on GitHub. I've here just a screenshot. You find at each challenge, between the goal and the description of the challenge, the funding source and a link to our terms and conditions. So remember, I mentioned we are supported by different entities, and those different entities, they have different rules. So this challenge here is funded under ECMWF. So, and for details for who can participate, you should go to Article 3 and read carefully there who can participate. So it depends if you are from which country, with citizenship, or where you live. And as said, you start looking at the challenge then you go to the terms and conditions and read the details there. I also mentioned that we are supported by partner organizations, and that's, of course, a big thank you to all our challenge partners. These are organizations we have worked together to identify some challenges. And for this year, we have ENTSO-E, that's the European Network of Transmission System Operators for Electricity, and the University of Reading. So we have a good partnership with the University of Reading, and are very happy that they joined as partners. Then we are working on 2 African challenges or Africa-related challenges, and the one is in collaboration with AfriClimate AI. This is an NGO that is dedicated to making use of the power of AI for sustainable, prosperous, and climate-resilient Africa. The 4th partner organization this year is ICPAC. That's a climate prediction and application center delivering climate services to Eastern Africa. And especially the Africa stream, and I will come to that. We're very happy that is also supported by the European Union's Global Gateway Strategy. So, but how does the program work now for you? So we have identified 4 steps, and from the call for participation, where we are currently in, up to the final Code for Earth Day, this is where the selected teams can present the results of their work. So this is roughly the timeline, and we will look into each of the phases separately. We are currently in the call for participation, where we run those Q&A webinars, where you can ask questions on GitHub, and where we encourage you to especially ask questions on GitHub and reach out to the mentors, because they can provide feedback. And at this point, I would like to hand over to my colleague Esperanza. She will go in more detail and share some tips and tricks and recommendations how to submit a good proposal. Esperanza, please.
Thank you, Athina. Hello, everybody. This Code for Earth 2026, this edition, has released 16 challenges. These challenges can be regrouped into 4 categories or streams, and the topics are data visualization, machine learning, and software development, and a 4th stream, which is called Africa Stream. So as Athina mentioned, all these challenges are available on GitHub. So we invite you to go there and to browse all the challenges and choose the one of your interest. One of these advantages of this GitHub platform is that you can start a conversation with the mentors. The mentors are the minds and the behind this challenge. They come up with the idea, the original idea, and also wrote the description. So they are the best sources to get answers. So we encourage you to go to GitHub, choose a challenge, and ask questions. Maybe some aspect of the description is not 100% clear to you, and you need a clarification. So the mentors are, the feedback you can receive from the mentors is very valuable. So at this stage, please, we encourage you to do so. It's important to highlight here that now during this call for participation, the mentors are not going to evaluate your proposal. They are going to answer your questions, but the scope or the rate, etc., it comes later when the deadline met, which will be the 9th of April 2026. Well, next slide, yes. And now we would like to share with you some recommendations because we want you to be success. So here are our tips. First, be clear. So it's very important when it comes to writing your proposal, you outline a description clear enough. So the more understandable, the more intelligible your proposal is, the better. It will increase your chances of success. Another tip, stay focused. Yeah, you should read carefully the description of the challenge and identify the requirements, and please straight to the point. Don't add any complexity. Don't be very ambitious, and don't be very ambiguous. Because why? Because you need to be realistic. The proposal you are going to write needs to be technically feasible in 4 months. This is the period you will have from May to the end of August to work on your project, to collaborate with the mentors and to develop your software. So it's important that your proposal, which you are writing now, is very realistic. The scope of your proposal needs to be realistic with the 4 months this time. Another tip, engage with the mentors, is what I said earlier. And you can, the feedback is very valuable, so you should integrate their feedback into your proposal. They will help you to tailor your own submission. And our last tip is please make a very sensible and responsible use of the AI tools. Artificial intelligence is great and can give you support and make cosmetics with your proposal, but the knowledge, the topic must come from you. So because you will be the person, the coder who will collaborate with the mentors during the coding phase. So the knowledge comes from you. Yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah. And now we would like you to we are going to go through the submission form to help you what to expect with that. In general terms, we can divide the submission form into 3 parts. The first part is about the idea, the big picture. So we will ask you to explain a project summary, explain what, in your own words, what the limitation, the challenge is, and also the solution you are going to propose. Why the issue matters and who will benefit from your solution. So this is a project summary at the beginning. Also, we ask you for a title. The title, which are easy to retain, are the best. The works fine. So choose a title concise and descriptive, and it will be fine. We would like to know also your motivation. What are your inspiration behind the challenge? Why do you select the challenge? And it's from your interest. Yes. Next slide, please. Yes. The second part of the submission form is more about your own solution and how do you present it. Be concrete. We are asking you to develop what are you going to plan, how you are going to tackle the challenge, what are you going to build up. We need to know your objectives, your main goals, and also the outcomes. What do you think your impact or your results put on the table with respect to the challenge you choose? And another bullet point, quite important, is the methodology. We need to know which technologies, which programming language are you going to use, frameworks, tools, platforms, etc. In addition with the data you plan to work with. Yeah, and the third part, the last one, which is quite relevant, is the timeline. You are going to explain or to highlight a solution, but we need to know how you are going to deliver this solution. So the timeline, which could be a table, an Excel, etc., whatever you want to present it, needs to include three important bullet points: project phases, milestones, and deliverables. These timelines is important because it helps you to organize your own workload during the coding phase, during these 4 months. So you need to bear in mind that at the end of the coding phase, you need to present, it's compulsory to present an outcome, a result, a project. So this timeline helps you to organize this. It's plan ahead in advance. It's good. You can upload this file in the submission form. And also, if you would like to upload another file with additional information, you are very, very welcome to do so. Yeah. Now, the 9th of April comes, you know, the deadline is passed, and what happened next? Well, the next phase of the program is called the evaluation phase. Is when all the mentors of the evaluators will evaluate, rate, and score all the proposals they have received in particular. So maybe you wonder what kind of the criteria they are going to follow, no, to evaluate these proposals. Well, on the screen you can see the list. Which have the criteria? Comprehensibility, clarity and structure, feasibility. Yes, feasibility is the criterion which makes reference to the scope of your proposal. I mean, I insist, but your proposal needs to be technically feasible in 4 months. So this is the criterion which is quite important, and you need to bear in mind when you write in your proposal. More criterion: future-proof approach, easy to maintain, innovative approach, if applicable, transferability, if applicable, and matching requirements. Matching requirements is a criterion based on, we'll need to know how well your proposal is match or meet the requirements of the challenge. Not only these criterions are applicable for all the challenges, but in GitHub, the last section of the description, you know, is indicated with the criterion is applicable to every challenge in particular. Yes, Athena is showing us that. If you want to know more information about this criterion of the evaluation process, we encourage you to go to our Code for Earth website, and the webpage FAQ. You can find information about it. Yes, what is the selection process? This is the tab Tina is showing on the screen, and every criterion is briefly explained. Good. Yes, you can see there's a last section, evaluation criteria to the challenge specifically. Yeah. And now I think I handle Athena. Yeah, and take over to continue the presentation. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Esperanza. I hope you all listen carefully. If not, just a heads up, we're putting the recording of the session, and also the recording from last session is already on our YouTube channel. So you can additionally listen in, because the tips and recommendations Esperanza just gave, they're really important. So that help you, you know, we want you to be successful. And these tips are really, you know, spot on. So we talked about the selection progress, or especially Esperanza mentioned it. So for each of the challenges, we will select one proposal. So the best rated proposal that is passing a threshold. And then we check, of course, with the selected teams if they are available. It might be that some mentors request during the evaluation phase also a clarification meeting. Then Esperanza and we would reach out to the team that submitted a proposal. So once we had identified the selected teams, we will announce them end of April, and then we will promote the projects and the teams on our social media. And all the selected teams, they then go into the coding phase that starts in May and ends in August. What is happening during the coding phase? This is the time where you really work on the solution or the solution for on your projects. You work on your projects, so you innovate, you collaborate, and then you develop open source software, really depending on the scope of the challenge. You team up with other colleagues. That is, you can work alone on a project, but usually, you would work in teams. And as said, it's the 4-month coding phase, May through August. What we additionally do is we have 2 midterm webinars. They occur usually around July, where we ask all the teams to come up, to present their findings so far, how far they have come. It's a little bit like a progress. Where are you? So we want to give the selected teams also visibility to the community. And the general community can also follow the progress of the projects on GitHub. Some of the projects they develop in a public GitHub repository, their projects, or you can see the final findings at the end of the coding phase. So after the coding phase, the selected teams that successfully finished the coding phase, they're invited to present their findings during the final Code for Earth Day. This year, the event will take place in Bologna, in Italy. It was one of the sites of ECMWF, and yeah, there we are celebrating the completion of the 2026 edition of Code for Earth. The teams will be invited, as I mentioned already, to present the results. It's an event for networking and having fun. So now we talked about generally what the program is. We looked into the details, where should you pay attention while working on your proposal. We looked into the timeline. So why should you submit a proposal? There are so many reasons, and probably everyone has a different, a different idea or a different need or a different interest. So in generally, if you participate and you are selected, join the Code for Earth community. As mentioned, we have been running the program run since 2018, and it has been very successful. We have a nice group of people that participated, but we have also a huge community, for example, on LinkedIn. Another aspect is you work on real world cutting edge projects. It's not that we come up with some artificial ideas, but the mentors or the colleagues that suggest challenges, they really take topics out of the daily business. So you can learn from mentors, and the mentors, as mentioned, are either from ECMWF or from our partner organizations. And you can also develop open source solutions that push innovation. As mentioned, if you are selected, you get awarded a financial contribution after successfully finish your project. And this information is also available on GitHub. Yeah, and these are only like 5 topics why to participate. There are probably many more, but it depends, what background you have. So these are just a few. So, and now, as I already mentioned at the beginning, I'm very happy, or we are very happy to have Marina with us today. So Marina Capolingua, she was in a project in 2025, sorry, and actually also the year before, and she submitted with her team a challenge, a proposal to the challenge Puroscope that then became the project Firefront Radar. And at this point, Marina, thanks a lot for joining us, and I hand over to you.
Thank you, Athena. So now I share my screen and some slide that I have prepared. Let me know if you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great. Okay. So I can start with a few words about our team. We participated in the 2025 edition as a group of three from different countries, from Italy, Greece, and Scotland. And we came from diverse professional backgrounds, bringing a mix of skills, including statistics, data visualization, geospatial data analysis, and the knowledge of some programming languages very useful for these challenges that are Python, JavaScript, and React. A great advantage for us wasn't just the variety of the skill, but even the fact that our expertise overlapped in key areas. And this overlap allowed us to avoid working in silos and let us to remain agile. So if one person got stuck, another could jump in without a steep learning curve. Our project, as Athena said, is named FireFront Radar, and involved developing a web visualization tool which displays two powerful new global fire probability indexes developed by ACMWF. And these datasets contain deep scientific insight into daily fire risk worldwide and are undergoing continuous development even today. Our goal was to bridge the gap between the complex raw data and the end users. We transform these datasets into an interactive and easily navigable dashboard. So now, instead of relying on static maps or documentation, users can benefit from a dynamic tool that provides an immediate, clear visualization while still allowing for deeper exploration via specific charts. Now let's move from the proposal phase. Here I can tell some tips. Tell you some tips from my experience. My advice is to provide your own perspective on how to tackle the problem. So don't rely just on tool, as even Esperanza said, to generate your entire proposal, as it makes the content feel standardized and similar to many others. Instead, it's better to promote your passion for the problem and your unique angle to solve the problem, and so put your personal stamp on it. Secondly, it's better to be precise when defining the milestone and the timeline. Since being vague could be problematic. It's better to break the project down into specific measurable steps to show that you have a clear roadmap and you have already considered potential bottlenecks. And finally, I even stress the focus on feasibility, because it's better to propose a solid solution that an overambitious project that can be realistically finished in the given time frame, even if it could even possible to, if the mentors agree, even to go on beyond the challenge, but as a free participation. So it's not, you have to do something that can be close in your format. If you can, it would be useful to include a preliminary research or a small proof of concept to demonstrate that you already know how to handle the topic. Regarding the coding phase, the first recommendation for me is to be prepared to face the unexpected, since the project is not a monolith defined once and for all, but new needs and priorities will likely emerge as you progress. In our case, for example, we encounter significant difficulties in accessing data smoothly and effectively. And we experimented with several technical approaches requiring a few intense weeks of troubleshooting and optimizing before we finally established an architecture that performed exactly as we wanted. And beyond the technical difficulties, we faced even a strategic challenge, since we had to rethink our target audience during the month. We pivoted from a generalistic public to a research-specific focus, and that implied to overhaul our UI and UX logic. So my main takeaway is to always account for unknown in your planning, since flexibility is important as your technical skills. Regarding the time commitment, I can say that on average, I dedicated about 12-14 hours per week to the project, but as we approach it to the final presentation, this amount increased to approximately 18 hours. So you must be prepared to this level of intensity. And a crucial part of our schedule was the weekly call with our mentors. And it is important not to skip these, since they are the best time to ask questions and clarify critical technical points. And their feedback is what keeps you on track, on the right track. Additionally, we held even an internal team meeting every week to sync our progress. Another factor to consider is planning for summer holidays, especially if you apply as a group, since you must account for team members being away. And this could be critical if a member possesses a specific skill that others cannot easily cover. So it's vital to coordinate early about the summer holidays and be transparent about the availability to avoid last-minute panic. So what can you take away from the challenge at the end? I can say that it's an incredible experience that fosters a real professional growth. Since you just not work on a side project, but you solve a real problem using the state-of-the-art data. And this allow you to acquire high-level skills that can be technical skills like mastering complex geospatial data, but even soft skills like managing a project with global visibility. And furthermore, there is the chance to network with world-class experts and even colleagues. And these professional relationships stay with you long after the program ends. And another rewarding aspect is the impact. So we can contribute to an open source project that the entire community and future researchers can benefit from, and it's a rare opportunity to be something for the collective good. So now it's your turn, and I say good luck to all of you for your application. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Marina. That was a very nice insight. Yeah, so are there any questions to Marina? So you can post them. And yeah, I think I see one. Thank you, Marina. No. Yeah, as Marina said, the participating in Code for Earth, it's not a full-time thing, but it can vary throughout the 4 months, depending on the workload. And Marina, you mentioned that you had a weekly meeting with the mentor, weekly progress meeting. That really depends on the mentors. Some mentors might say, okay, we have a bi-weekly, but we recommend usually at the beginning of the coding phase to start with a weekly progress meeting. So you have to consider that, if you select it in the coding phase, that things work smoothly. Good. Again, Marina, thanks a lot. This was great that you could join today and share your experience.
There is a question about Liz, about the time commitment.
Yes.
Obviously, the time depends even on your expertise and how many people are you in the group, and even the level of difficulties of the challenge. I can say that I work for that amount of time that I told you, but obviously is not that cannot be generalized for all the challenges. But even speaking with other colleagues for other challenges, I can say that in general, every one of us worked a lot, even if I can say the exact amount of hours even for the others.
Yeah, that's a good point, Marina. Thank you. So usually we recommend, of course, every person can participate, and you can submit a proposal on your own, but we recommend that you submit a proposal to a challenge with a team. First of all, you can share the workload. Additionally, different colleagues, or if you would team up with other colleagues or friends, you have different expertise. So just consider that if you're a student, check with some of your fellow students. Maybe they are interested to join as well. And also, looking at what Marina said, so we had so usually after each edition, we do a survey. We ask the participants and the workload. We had numbers between 10 and 12. And Marina said, okay, there was this period where it was much more intensive. So you should consider to have, maybe 16 to 18 hours weekly. But that is something, yeah. So the 18, I would say, is the highest hours per week, and 10 is on the lowest number of hours. But it really depends on the teams, on the mentors, and on where are you in the project. There is another question. There are opportunity to discuss some ideas with potential assessors about which 1% or summit. I'm not sure if I understood. So is it about, you have, so Gustavo, you're interested, but you don't have a team? Sorry, but
Yeah, assessors, what does it mean with assessors? Evaluators or team members? We are not sure.
I think he or she probably mean evaluators in this context.
yeah, so as mentioned, and let me go, I'm still sharing my screen. As mentioned, you can discuss, in quotes, any questions with the mentors. So select here. So you go to the 2026 page, you can read all the challenges here, and then you select one challenge that is of interest for you. And then you go on GitHub, there is a section where you can post questions. And as you can see here, people are already asking questions to the mentors or more administrative or administrative stuff is answered by Esperanza and myself. And Gustavo, now I got it. So you are a single person and you're interested to have a team. That is also the opportunity. Go to the challenge you're interested in and just write there, hey, I'm interested to team up with colleagues or with other interested people, and hopefully someone who is maybe also lonely player that you can team up with this person and then create a team. We really encourage this. That's please use the challenge and the question where you can post questions for matchmaking, so to say.
It's about mentors, he mentions.
I don't have a team, sorry for my English. Is there a character limit for the single points of the proposal? No.
I don't think,
but
maybe they will knows better the proposal in the submission form. There's not a limit of words, isn't it?
no, I don't think so. Yeah, but please, that's a 4-month coding phase. It's not that you're working on a 2 years research project. So be as detailed as necessary. Don't. I think even Esperanza had mentioned it. Don't be too specific in. Be clear what you want to achieve, but don't send in proposals with 50 pages. That would probably
Exactly. It's not a scientific paper at all. No.
So there's a question. I have 2 jobs and might miss live meetings. Can I join Code for Earth and work mainly in the evenings? Can we replace team meetings with written feedback on GitHub? Well, that is something, so if selected, that is something you have to handle or deal with your mentors. We really encourage to have, at least at the beginning, 3 or 4 weekly meetings, just that you get the understanding what the mentors want, in which direction it should go. And then if it's fine for the mentors to move to written form, that is fine. But that is something you have to identify or decide with the mentors. And additionally, let's say you are in a team and not a single person, then of course the meetings also could be covered by some of your team members. We don't require the live meetings. We highly recommend them, though. That avoids misunderstanding, especially in the beginning and the starting phase. But that is also something you might want to check, with the mentors up front. Yeah, I cannot give a clear answer because it's not allowed, but
And
sorry, please, Esperanza.
It also depends on the challenge or your expertise. I mean, there are many circumstances or factors, but during the coding phase, you need to work on the challenge. This is for sure. It's like Marina said, yeah. But the way you organize yourself, working in the evenings or written feedbacks is up to you with the mentors of the challenge, as Atina highlighted. Yeah.
If I can add a thing, it's
Sure.
talking with the mentors is not just useful for the challenge, but it's a privilege because you talk with very competent and expert people. So it's something that you could miss, an occasion that you could miss if you don't talk with them.
Very nice.
Yeah. So then different challenges, the next question, different challenges have different funding sources. So my question is that I choose a challenge, but my country is not in the funding list. If it means I cannot choose this challenge, or I can choose this challenge just without funding. Oh, so it's, yeah, if your country is not listed as a country of eligibility, you cannot participate. It's not that much on the funding side, it's the entire the entire process. And as said, so for example, ECMWF funding, and let me move here. This is quite open because it says nationals or residents of ECMWF member states and cooperating states. But if you, yeah, I think I roughly say non-European, but that's not entirely true. Check first the funding or the eligibility rules. These are actually the eligibility rules because you can find all information there, and then check which of the challenges you are actually allowed to participate, where you are eligible to participate. We have to follow also certain rules, so that is for us also not that straightforward. I mean, therefore we have made it as easy as possible, as embracing as possible. But of course, we have to follow the rules for eligibility. I hope that answered your question. It's not only about the funding, it's about general eligibility.
Mhm.
Good. Any other questions? If I hear none or see none, as recommended by us, go to GitHub, check information there, ask your questions there. And of course, Esperanza and also Diego and Sara and myself, we are here to help answering your questions. And I see one more questions. Lizzie is typing, or did I miss one? Yeah, and as mentioned, also this webinar and also last week's webinar will be available on GitHub. So let's give Lizzie. Yes, actually a very good question. So for each of the challenges, we will receive, or we will probably receive proposals for the challenges, and the mentors of a challenge, they select one proposal per challenge. So in the ideal situation, we will have identified 16 proposals, one for each of the challenges, and all these teams, they go into the coding phase. And then they have to finish the coding phase successfully. As I said, this is where, what also Marina said, this is where you coordinate with your mentors. And our goal is that everyone finishes the coding phase successfully. And then you are at the end of the coding phase. And if you have been successfully with finishing the coding phase, you're eligible for the financial contribution. It's, if you're selected, make sure you finish your the coding phase successfully, and then you're invited to the final day event, and then you will also receive the financial contribution. And how many proposals? Oh, that's a good question. I can tell you last year we had 17 issues or 17 challenges, and we had challenges they did not receive any proposals, and then we had challenges they received up to 8 or 9 proposals. It's so Esperanza and I, we look in the glass bowl at the moment, and we are not sure what we can see because it's still all very blurry.
Yes, it is very random. Some challenges receive 16 proposals and others 1 or 2, but it doesn't. Yeah, it's really is the quality, the high quality of the proposals more than the number, really.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's another question from Lizzie. So all 16 winning teams are going to Bologna. Yes, all selected teams that finish the coding phase successfully, they go to Bologna. Just, to be transparent, last year we had a team that was selected, and then they entered the coding phase, and after like 4 weeks or 6 weeks, the mentors reached out to us because that didn't work. So the selected team did not properly deliver the deliverables after some time, postponed meetings for various reasons, and then we had to terminate the project during the coding phase, which was in totally also the participating team, they understood it. So there was no. We discussed that, and they said, okay, we agree, because we also don't want to, put burden on the resources of colleagues. So we terminated this project. Of course, then this team was not invited to Bologna, and they did not receive the financial contribution. But that was 1 out of 11 selected teams. That happens, but since I run the program, that was the first time it happened. Marina, are you still there?
Yes.
Sorry but we always talk about, the teams should be, or the coding phase should be finished successfully. Do you think it's, can you say something to that? Like towards the end of the coding phase, you go through kind of an evaluation with the mentors.
Yes, absolutely. We have a final evaluation. Since, as I explained before, we had some difficulties during the development phase. So we arrived just at the last days to finish the project. So the evaluation at the end was successful, and we were very happy. And absolutely, the idea is was to continue. So we were all very happy about it.
Yeah. As said, if you selected, it's in the interest of everyone, also the mentors, that teams are successful. It's not the program is not about to fail, but to come to good solutions.
Yeah.
And there's maybe the last questions, because we come to the top of the hour. If selected, can other and more members embark? This can be done. We are not recommending that that much. It happens, and someone needs, has different duties. Then also you can we have teams there where a team member left and a new team member joined, but it's probably really better, and also shows that you have thought it through from the beginning, if the team is stable.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and also, all the team members need to meet the eligibility criteria, or participation, or to take part of Code for Earth. So not only the one person, or everyone.
Good. Marina, thanks a lot. Thanks for joining. And also, as we are on the top of the hour, if there aren't any more questions, and as said, please reach out to us. We are here to answer those questions. Thanks a lot to everyone for joining. And yeah, we are really curious to see your submissions.
Good luck to everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you all very much. Thank you for being here and looking forward to seeing your submissions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.